People are so full of crap.
The pure, unvarnished, no-nonsense truth.
No more excuses. Your own damn fault.
Americans owe more than $2 trillion in consumer debt, but that wouldn't surprise Larry Winget, the man who's called the Pitbull of personal development.
He's Larry Winget, financial guru for hundreds of thousands of people.
Here's the truth. Your kids are your own fault. Nothing is really more mature than becoming financially stable.
So much stuff was racing through my mind, but then when Larry spoke, it was a whole other world.
He is the author of, you got to read this. You're broke because you want to be. And everyone is talking about this book.
He's inspired nearly 400 of the Fortune 500 companies.
Larry Winget, his latest book is called Work for a Reason. It's a New York Times bestseller using a kick-butt approach.
Pretty impressive.
Pretty impressive.
Larry Winget, best-selling author of You're Broke Because You Want to Be?
Take the money you'll save and pay down your credit card debt.
Probably should.
Did he just say probably? All right, I appreciate it. Thank you. Thank you all. Appreciate that. Thank you. Y'all say that. Turn that music off. All right, I appreciate it. Let's start today with a couple of questions. I need an enthusiastic response to each one of my questions. First one, how many of you are ready to be more successful in the future than you have ever been in the past? Raise your hand and say, you bet. You bet. You did pretty good. How many are ready to make more money in the future than you ever did in the past? Say, you bet. You bet. How many want to have a good time tonight? Say, you bet. You bet. How many want to walk out those doors better looking than when you first walked in? Say, you bet. You bet. Sir, you didn't answer that last one. Trust me, you should have too. I want you to know. Now, normally when I tell folks that they're going to have a good time, they think I'm going to do a lot of jokes. Y'all need to get it straight. I don't do jokes. I used to do a lot of jokes. I used to do a lot of bald jokes. Looked in the mirror one day, decided to do anything funny about that. Being bald is tough. First of all, that's tough on your love life. I mean, you think about it. If all the hair fell out of your dog, would you want to pet it? Shoot, that's why I grew a beard. No kidding, before I grew the beard, people thought I looked like a big thumb. I'd walk down the streets, cars would pull over and say, hey buddy, you need a ride? One other reason I grew the beard is because underneath that little bit of hair right there, I don't have a chin. It's not a big deal not having a chin. It does make it hard to change pillowcases though, I'll tell you that. The rest of you are going to get that one in just a minute. Really, there's only one good thing about not having any hair. Bald guys live longer. Did y'all know that? Absolutely true. Bald men live longer. I heard about a guy 92 years old. He sent his wife to the doctor one day. Doctor examined her, couldn't believe what he found out. Made her go out to the waiting room. Brought her in about 20 minutes later, did a second examination. Again, was astounded at what he discovered. Made her go back out to the waiting room. Finally brought her in, and at the end of the third examination, he turned to her and said, ma'am, I'm not sure how to break this to you, but you're going to have a baby. She said, I can't be going to have a baby. I got a husband, 92. He said, I don't care if he's 192. You're still going to have a baby. She said, well, I better call him and let him know. So she reaches for the telephone. Doctor stops her, says, just a minute, that is an old man. You're going to want to break that to him pretty gently. She said, oh, don't worry, I will. She picks up the phone, dials the phone. The old man answers the phone. First thing out of her mouth, she said, yo, coot, you got me pregnant. He said, who is this? He didn't have any hair either, see? By the way, I don't like big, long introductions. I know you all have heard speakers with long introductions, isn't that right? I hate those introductions. That's why I just use that little video clip. Speakers like their long introductions because that is their only opportunity to tell you all the amazing things they have done in the past in order to build up their credibility so you will want to pay attention to them. And I'm always just like you. I sit out there in the audience, and I'm always wondering if they're so good at doing all that, why do they have to do this? Bottom line, I was never any good at doing all that. I have to do this. Besides that, I figured out nobody cares how good you used to be. Isn't that right? Say you bet. Nobody cares how good you used to be. You're like 33 speeches from me this year, 33. My first 32, I was amazing. And y'all don't care. You just hope I'm going to be pretty good right now. Isn't that right? Say you bet. Well, you know what? It's no different for you. Nobody cares how good you used to be either. You got to be good every single day you show up. Isn't that right? Say you bet. Yeah. So let me tell you what I do. I'll go all over the world, just spent 2 weeks in Australia, got back last Saturday, talked to all kinds of businesses, associations, organizations. I'm on television 2 or 3 times a week talking about what it takes to be successful, talk to individuals, all about what it takes to be more successful, make more money, have more fun. Because I think if there's anything in the world all of us have in common, that's what we're interested in. How to make more money, be more successful, have more fun. Do you agree with that? Say you bet. Yeah. And here's what I'm amazed at. People aren't. They're not more successful. They're not having as much fun as they ought to have. And they certainly don't have as much money as they want to have. Isn't that right? Absolutely. So what's gone wrong? Well, a lot of stuff's gone wrong. We're going to talk some about that. But I tell you right now, as I go around the country and around the world talking about those things, I remind people how simple it really is. And that's not what most people in this business do. People in the personal development industry, they don't want you to really think that it's incredibly simple. They want it to be hard. In fact, here's what I've discovered. Most people want it to be hard. You're saying that it makes sense. Why in the world would people want those things to be hard? I'll tell you why. If we all buy into the idea that success is hard, we will have an excuse for not doing well. And I simply don't think there is an excuse for not doing well. So I remind people how simple it really is. The problem is we've got a lot of people out there standing on stages around the world, and believe me, I know them all, saying stuff that is just stupid and wrong. It's the way it is. And I'm going to attack all those stupid, wrong people here tonight. I see them all the time. You all saw that clip of me on the Today Show talking to Matt Lauer about my bestseller, and I've done it several times. I will tell you this, once you become a regular on Fox News, you're not going back on the Today Show anymore, so y'all don't expect to see me there again. But I was watching another guy the other day talking about his bestseller. And this is what he said. He said, if you want to be successful in business, forget about making the customer happy. Do you all have a problem with that? You see, I have a big problem with that. Forget about making the customer happy. He said, if you want to be successful in business, spend all of your time and your energy making your employees happy. Now, here's the problem with that. You can't make employees happy. You can't. Nothing against employees. It's just that you cannot make another human being happy, not if they don't want to be happy. Isn't that right? Say you bet. In fact, about the last thing in this world I want is somebody showing up and trying to happy me into happy. And you all know what I'm talking about. They're everywhere. Every office has one. Every group's got one. Every organization, every business, you name it. Little Susie Sweetcheeks who comes running up to you in the morning saying, is Mr. Grumpy having a bad day? Get the hell out of my face. I got work to do. Besides, who cares if you're happy? Nobody. Nobody cares if you're happy. Sorry, that's the real world. You aren't paid to be happy. Don't think you are. You're an idiot if you think you're paid to be happy. Did you ever get a paycheck in your whole life that down in the memo section said, we're going to pay you this time just because you're so darn happy? You don't get paid to be happy on the job. You get paid to do your job. Isn't that right? Say you bet. That's what it really comes down to. Nobody cares if you're happy. Nobody. You don't care whether I'm happy up here. You paid me to do my job. Isn't that right? Say you bet. That's why I'm here, to do my job. I got a lot of people who work for me. Trust me, they don't care whether Larry's having a good day or not. They're counting on me to do what I do so they can get paid. Isn't that true? That's what it really comes down to. We're telling people they got to be happy all the time. It's not fair. I was doing a deal, and I went to dinner with a bunch of friends, and we all went out, and we were sitting there at the restaurant, and we go in, and we sit down at the table, and the waiter comes up, and this is the first thing out of his mouth. He said, I'm just telling you right now, don't expect very good service from me tonight. I'm having a really bad day. Now, what can I get you? I said, well, you can get me a new waiter. He said, no, I'm serious. I said, oh, trust me, so am I. I said, get me a new waiter. He said, I can't do that. You see, this is my table. I said, now, you see, you're confused. This is my table. I'm paying for this table. It's my table, not yours. He said, I'll be right back. He goes, gets the manager. Here comes the manager. Manager says, is there a problem? I said, no problem with me at all. I want a new waiter. He said, why do you want a new waiter? I said, how stupid would I be as a customer to pay for bad service that has been promised me in advance? Get me a new waiter. He said, sir, you don't understand. He really is having a bad day. I don't care. Nobody cares. The problem we have right now in America is we tell people you got to be happy all the time. You got to love what you do. You heard that? Love what you do and you'll never work a day in your life. Oh my God, I hate what I do for a living. I do. I hate what I do for a living. Here's where all of you are confused. You think this is what I do for a living. It's not. It's not. I do this maybe 75 to 100 hours a year. That's the amount of time I actually spend on stage, 75 to 100 hours a year. I have to travel 200 to 250 days a year to make that happen. I love my 75 to 100 hours on stage. Have you spent 250 days a year in hotels, dealing with taxi drivers, rental car agencies, hotel clerks that don't like you and just assume you hadn't showed up at all? UPS that didn't get your books there, all the things that can go wrong when you're traveling. I hate all of that. I love this. I hate that. I put up with that because I love this enough. The realities of our work every single day is that you're going to love what you do that much of the time, and the rest of the time you're putting up with it. Isn't that right? Say you bet. It's okay to go ahead and say, I don't love it all the time. People don't want to do that. They talk about you got to be happy, you got to love it. You got to find your purpose and your passion. Oh my God. My dad worked for Sears Roebuck for 47 years. 47 years. Over 12,000 days. I watched him go to work most of those days. Every single day my dad went to work, he worked with, for, and around idiots. Don't you? I mean, come on. Look around, people. Every single day my dad had customers who were idiots. Don't you? Of course you do. It just didn't matter to him. That wasn't part of the deal. He made a simple deal. When he was 17 years old with Sears, this was his deal. If you'll show up with the money, I'll show up with the work. No more complicated than that. For 47 years, Sears showed up with the money, which meant to him he had to show up with the work. Why? By God, he said he'd do it. That's it. He gave his word. It's what Steve was talking about. It's why I'm here tonight. I said I would do it. That's what it comes down to. I'll guarantee you, my dad went to work when he was not motivated. I hate motivational speakers. Somehow they've got to this place in their mind that they don't think any work happens in the world unless people are motivated. Really? 99% of all the work that gets done in the world happens when people are not motivated. It happens when you're pissed off at your husband and your wife. It happens when you had a flat on the way to work. Isn't that right? Or when your coworker's an absolute fool. Or when your kids are screwing up and you want to choke them out. And yet the work gets done. Isn't that true? Why? You said it would get done. It's what you were paid to do. You haven't found your purpose or your passion? I hate passion. I know you've heard passion 100 times from the stage. Passion. Oh my God. Passion? Really? Really? Passion is defined as an uncontrollable emotion. Look it up. I don't want an uncontrollable emotion anywhere near my business. My business is my business. I take it very seriously. I don't want anything uncontrollable near it. Isn't that right? Come on. I was doing Donnie Deutsch, The Big Idea. You saw that clip. And Donnie Deutsch on The Big Idea always had a show, and it was always with these entrepreneurs, and they had a theme every single day. And then they'd call in this guy at the end of the show, and it would be the Millionaire Minute. I was the Millionaire Minute at the end of the show. And wouldn't you know, the theme the day that I got there was passion. So there Donnie and I stand face to face. And he said, Larry, tell me how you feel about passion. And I said, passion, Donnie, is a load of crap. And you could just see old Donnie go pale underneath all that orange makeup. And he said, well, I disagree. I said, you can disagree if you want to. I mean, it's your television show. You can be wrong. I don't care. I said, here's the problem with passion. I know people who are passionate, and they are passionately incompetent. Do you know people who are passionately incompetent? Of course you do. They're really good at doing stuff that didn't need to be done at all. It didn't matter. Success does not come from purpose, motivation, or passion. Success comes down to two things, hard work and excellence, period. No more complicated than that. Hard work and excellence. And by the way, you cannot have one without the other. I'm sick of people saying, all you got to do is work hard to be successful. No, I'm sorry, it's not enough. It's not. I know people who work really hard at what they do. They're just not any good at it. So it doesn't matter. And it doesn't come down to only excellence, because I know people who are excellent at what they do, and they don't work hard enough at it for it to make any difference. It is the combination of hard work and excellence that makes the difference. You agree with that? Say you bet. And yet, we're looking for all that stupid stuff out there, all that airy-fairy stuff about love and harmony and peace and passion and happiness. Oh my God, and unicorns and puppy dogs and all that stupid crap. Come on, hard work and excellence. Work has become the nastiest, ugliest four-letter word in our language. We don't want to work. You mean I got to work? I can't attract success? No, you can't. You're not going to attract success. I know you people probably love that. You can't. You don't sit on your ass and attract anything. It's not how it works. You got to work. You want to be more successful? You want to attract success? Go work for it. No, but we got to talk about all that silly stuff. We got to tell people there are secrets of success. You've heard about the secrets of success, haven't you? Sure, everybody's got secrets of success. I got fascinated with that whole term, the secrets of success. I went on Amazon. I started looking up books. I found 1,800 books that use the words, the secrets of success in the title. 1,800 books that talk about the secrets of success. In the last 20 years, I've read over 4,000 books. I don't know anybody who's read more books than I have. Books on every subject you can imagine. Books on leadership and sales and customer service. Books on how to get rich. Books on how to get healthy. Books on staying rich and staying healthy. Books that cover thousands of years worth of information. And after reading 4,000 books, many of which cover thousands of years worth of information, this is what I discovered. There are only 18 good ideas in the whole world. And we complicated all those. We didn't need to, and not one of them was a secret. I kept reading. I found 500 books that talk about the secrets of customer service. 500 books about the secrets of customer service. How about this? Be nice. Why has that become the biggest secret in all customer service today? Just be nice, isn't that right? Exactly. I found 600 books about the secrets of selling. We need 600 books about the secrets of selling because this is all it comes down to. Ask. Well, it's more complicated than that, Larry. It just can't be ask. What if you ask them and they say no? Ask them again. Well, what if they say no? Ask them again. Well, what if they say no then? Go ask somebody else. Don't be stupid about it. Come on. 700 books about the secrets of leadership. How about this? Get out in front of people, give them something good to follow. Guess what? They will. But you know the reason we buy into this crap? Maybe it's because the best-selling book on the planet for the last 4 or 5 years has been a book called The Secret. I don't know. Y'all ever read that book? I'm not kidding. That's the biggest load of crap ever put on paper. Oh, don't ooh and ah me. You're an idiot if you like that book. I'm sorry. Holy crap, people. The book The Secret, are you kidding me? This is what the book The Secret says. The book The Secret says what you think about and talk about comes about. No! What you think about and talk about does not come about. What you think about, talk about, and get off your ass and do something about is what comes about. Isn't that right? You don't think your way to success. That's not how it works. You don't happy your way to success. You don't positive attitude your way to success. You work your way to success. That's what it really comes down to. I have yet to find a successful person in any industry that it didn't always come down to hard work and being good at what they did. Isn't that true? Say you bet. I'm sick of these people talking about the secret and the law of attraction. It doesn't work. It's because there's no action involved. None. It takes work. And yet, I watch people on TV. I watched a woman the other day. And she said, I'm using the secret to lose weight. She was talking about it. And she's 400 pounds. And she said, every single day I get up and I sit on the couch. Wait, there's a clue? And I'm sure she sits on the couch, she's sitting there with a box of Little Debbie snack cakes in one hand and a 40-ounce Diet Pepsi in the other. And she sits there and says, I think I'm thin, I think I'm thin. No, you're not. You're fat. You're not thin. And don't write me about that crap, okay? Really, and I know everybody stands up here and says, I love you so much. You can just write me and I'll write you back. Don't write me, I'm not writing you back. I don't care. I had a woman write me the other day and said, I'm awful hard on fat people. Well, yeah, maybe I am. Maybe I am. She said, besides, Larry, I'm not fat. I'm big boned. I said, lady, dinosaurs had big bones. You're fat. And then there's an idiot out there. He's telling you how to get successful using the law of attraction. He said, this is what you do every single day. And this guy's making tons of money. He said, this is what you do. Every single day you touch yourself and you say, I'm rich, I'm rich, I'm rich. Listen, you can touch yourself till you get happy. You are not touching yourself till you get rich. You got to work to get rich. Isn't that right? Say you bet. You don't touch yourself and get rich. If that worked, I'd have been a zillionaire at 14. I mean, come on, they're just saying the dumbest crap. You know they are. Don't let these people get by with that stuff. You agree? Come on. I told you there were 18 good ideas in the whole world. I don't have time for all 18. I got time for a couple. Everybody ready? All right, here's the very first good idea. You got to take responsibility. Don't write that down. Holy, where you been in your life? Suddenly that just hit you as a good idea. Man, I better get that one. I don't think I ever heard that before. Take responsibility. The hardest thing people ever do in their whole life is take responsibility. Wouldn't you agree? Oh, we don't want to take responsibility. It's always got to be somebody else's fault. Isn't that right? It's got to be somebody's fault. I did a television show for a few years on A&E called Big Spinner. Anybody ever watch that show? Some of you did. Listen, if you didn't see the show, it was a television show about people who had wrecked their lives financially. And I would go in and, in my warm, sweet, loving, nurturing way, point out the error of their ways. Really, if you ever wanted to see a really angry bald man yelling at really stupid people until they cried like babies, this was your kind of TV. I had a woman on the show. She had 57 credit cards. She had $600,000 worth of credit card debt on shoes, purses, and clothes. That's a lot. I laid her 57 credit cards down in front of her. I handed her a pair of scissors, and I said, cut all of these up. You get to keep one for an emergency. When she cut them all up, I said, what'd you keep? She kept her Neiman Marcus card. She said, Larry, this is not my fault. She said, if you want to be upset with somebody and if you want to blame somebody, you blame the credit card companies. You don't blame me. If they would quit sending them to me, I would quit maxing them out. Folks, that's the place we've reached in our society. That's how people actually think. It's not their fault. As a result of that show, I wrote a book called People Are Idiots, and I can prove it. I really did. It's a New York Times bestseller. People are idiots, and I can prove it. I got some of them back there tonight. Easiest book I ever wrote. Really. You could write that book. Before you leave this room, you could write that book because people are idiots. Really, they do the dumbest stuff. Let me give you a couple of examples. The average 50-year-old in the United States of America, the average 50-year-old has $2,500 cash. That's all. Average 50-year-old has $2,500 cash. Let me do some numbers for you just because I think these are interesting and they're easy. Let's say you go to work when you're 25. Most people go to work much earlier than 25, but let's say you go to work at 25. You've worked 25 years. You're now 50 years old. You've got $2,500 saved. $100 a year, $8.33 a month, $2 a week. That's the best you've been able to do. You're an idiot. Right? More proof people are idiots? Some of you cannot wait for me to shut up just so you can run out those doors, stand outside, and smoke a cigarette. Yet, while a guy coughs. Yet every cigarette you smoke ends your life 13 minutes earlier than you had to die. 13 minutes earlier than you had to die. Do you know what you can do in 13 minutes? A couple of times if you're lucky. You'd rather smoke a cigarette than do that? You're an idiot. For the first time in history, we are raising a generation of children that are not going to outlive their parents. For the first time in history. Why? Because we feed them like pigs. For the first time in history, they're not going to outlive all of us. That's sad. More proof people are idiots? How many of y'all love your kids? Everybody says, oh yeah, I love my kids. According to the American Parenting Association, the average parent spends 3.5 minutes per week in meaningful conversation with their children. That's per week, folks. Oh yeah, we all love our kids. Not enough to talk to them, evidently. 25% of all teenage girls have an STD. 50% of all non-white teenage girls have an STD. Mamas and daddies, come on. More proof people are idiots? 7% of Americans believe that Elvis is still alive. That's true, by the way. 7% of Americans believe that Elvis is still alive. Let me drive that one home for you guys. About 10 of you believe Elvis is alive. And believe me, I can stand right here and pick you out too. Real proof that people are idiots. Human beings are the only species on the planet who every single day choose, make a conscious decision to be less, do less, and have less than they could. People do that. No other species does that. Your dog doesn't do that. Plants don't do that. Did you ever see a tree get about that big and go, nah, I'm good? Trees don't do that. Trees grow to be as big as they can, put out as many roots as they can, put out as many branches as they can, bear as much fruit as they possibly can. Everything in nature grows to be as big as it possibly can, everything except for people. And that's because people can choose. And sadly, typically, they choose poorly. By the way, a guy asked me the other day, stopped me in the airport, and he said, Larry, where do you find all of these stupid people to put on TV and to write books about? I said, are you kidding me? I could throw a rock right now and hit 20. They're everywhere. And if you want to change your life, first you have to take responsibility for your life. That's where it starts. You can't change your life until you admit that your life is the result of the decisions you've made. We're talking about choices. You created this crap. By the way, if your life is amazing, that's your fault too. You created that. But you have to take responsibility for all of it. People do not want to take responsibility. Next idea is flexibility. You can write that down. Flexibility. Flexibility, in my opinion, is the key to just about everything. Flexibility is the key to getting along with each other. Flexibility is the key to dealing with our customers. Flexibility is the key to dealing with change. Flexibility. By the way, let me ask you, are things changing? Oh my God. They are changing. Typically, I do a lot of corporate gigs. I've done 400 of the Fortune 500 companies, as you saw Donnie say on there, and I do mostly corporate work. And I always talk to some CEO before I show up about, well, I don't know why they want to talk to me. I'm not changing what I say anyway, but I do. And he said, listen, Larry, we've just watched your video, and we want you to come and speak to us as a result. After this conversation, we'll make that decision. And I know you talk about change in your speech, but I don't want you to talk to my company about change. I said, why is that? He said, I've guaranteed everybody in my company that in my company, change is over. I said, sir, you're an idiot. He said, what? And I said, oh, you heard me. You're an idiot. Change is not over. We are just getting started. Isn't that right? By the way, I didn't get that deal. But change is everywhere. And the key to dealing with change is flexibility. In fact, the most popular topic from any platform in the world today, we're hiring people to go in and talk to companies and individuals about how to deal with all the rapid change that is going on. They call my office, talk to my manager, say, does Larry have a speech on how to deal with change? Well, of course I do. Mine's not very long, though. And if you're having a problem dealing with all the changes that you're facing, you need my speech. If you know other people having a problem dealing with change, you're going to enjoy giving them my speech. This is my speech on how to deal with change. Shut up, stop whining, and get a life. And that's a good speech, isn't it? Here's what I've discovered. People don't like it.